live webinar. I've been doing this one for many months last year, and it was a great success. But it's the first time I'm doing it live. So while people join, why don't you put in the chat where you're calling from, and if you want, of course, what your current challenges as a brand are, so we can talk about that in the Q&A section that we will open by the end of the presentation. Okay, we'll give people 1 minute to join, and we'll get started. Okay. For everyone joining now, we are going to start in 1 minute. We're going to talk about the 10 things successful brands are doing in 2025. So, sorry, my phone was ringing. So, if you are joining now, please keep in mind your current challenges as a brand, because you might have some questions, or a lot of them, after this webinar, because we have done it for other private e-commerce communities and some companies. So if you have any questions, please write them down. You can put it in the chat as I start talking and presenting, and then by the end, we'll open a Q&A. Okay. So, okay, we'll get started. Okay. So thanks for attending this webinar. I'll be talking about the 10 things successful brands are doing in 2025. 8 and 9-figure brands, which makes it much more relatable to this audience. Okay. Before doing that, let me quickly introduce myself and tell you why you should hear me out. I'm the founder of BSR Digital. It's a growth marketing agency in which we have helped hundreds of brands grow since 2013. That's a long time, and I'm not that old. And I'm also the founder of the DTC Insider. It's a beautiful e-commerce community. We have a weekly newsletter in which we share the latest growth marketing news and trends. And on the other hand, we have a podcast since 2021 in which I have interviewed over 200 brand founders and decision makers in the DTC space to discuss business growth. Now, let's dive into today's topic. What were most brands doing a few years ago? They were super hungry for exponential growth. So let's do a quick recap about that to put everything in context. 2015 to 2019, it was the good old days, as many people call it. Facebook ads became almost a money printing machine for many companies. 2020, COVID hit, triggering a massive demand, and thousands of brands launched overnight. In 2021, well, the decline started. iOS 14 happened. For those not familiar with that, is everything that related to attribution issues, right? So costs were rising post-COVID, and there was a pullback in online demand. Of course, supply chain issues, everything like that. 2022, it was a tough year for many companies, and there were massive layoff. And in 2024, brands went back to the basics, aiming to be profitable instead of trying to achieve some sort of exponential growth overnight. Through my agency, my podcast, and my newsletter, I'm in touch with hundreds of brands a year. And during those conversations, I always try to find what's working and what's not for most of them. And here's what I found. Number one, having a great product. It all starts with a great product. I know it sounds like something basic, something straightforward, but hear me out. If you sell something that nobody wants, then nothing else will work. And many companies try to fix it with marketing and budget and more budget. And while, again, this seems obvious, many brands have validated product market fit for each product they launch, but many haven't. Here are some ways to make sure that it doesn't happen to you, or it doesn't happen again. First, you can start by selling it offline. Again, even if it's the first product or if it's the 1,000th product you release. Many founders ask me this question, and these guys, FTL bags. They went to Central Park with a sign saying, "Ask us about our bags," to interact with their customers. And you might be saying, Brian, that doesn't scale. Well, first off, let me tell you something. Jack Ma, Alibaba's founder, once said that before doing something that scales, we need to start by doing the non-scalable things. Plus, these days, things scale through TikTok or other platforms. In this case, this screenshot is a TikTok. So even the non-scalable stuff scale. Some other brands do a pop-up store or anything else offline, of course. Some other brands give away some product to get feedback, and some others ask their community. For that, you need to have a community, and we will cover that in a minute, or ask their previous customers what they want to see next. And we are going to show a few examples later. Then there's a brand that went further and created a group of testers, which are customers, not prospects, customers who receive free product in exchange of giving feedback to them for mass releasing the product. So in their case, they sell outdoor backpacks. So they might say things like the pocket is too small, too big, the strap is too thin or too thick, etc. Right? And this brand took it even further and did a blind test. Do you know how many times? 63 times. So this brand blind tested their product 63 times. Do you know why 63 and not 62 or 64? Because it was then when they found that over 90% of customers chose them over their competitors. These brands don't hide behind their storefront. These brands put their mission and vision into action and are involved with their community, both online and offline. And here are a few examples. This is Born Primitive. For those not familiar with the brand, I interviewed them in 2024. You can check the podcast episode. It was one of the last ones or the last one of the year. It's a 9-figure brand. Again, it's a 9-figure brand. So they know what they are doing. I think they're doing 200 million or so. These brands said that their biggest secret, let's say, to success is not the email strategy. It's actually that they go beyond the storefront and interact with their communities in many ways. In their case, the founder is a former Navy SEAL officer. So he's very involved with the veterans. And since the brand is around apparel, activewear, etc., they support gyms and they supported them through COVID. So they do many things outside of the website, let's say, in their storefront. This one is Lemonade Dolls. It's a UK brand. They I don't know how many awards in 2024 and many well-known awards, not those that you can get by buying them, right? Well-known awards. And this founder, we'll see them in some other slides as well. They are amazing. And they go above and beyond for their customers, creating a community. They go to events and they even have them on the website, but we're going to talk about that later, of course. This is Battlebox. Battlebox, in case you don't know, they sell outdoor gear. It's a subscription, a monthly subscription. So basically, they have a YouTube channel, they have a community, they have a TV show on Netflix, And in 2024, they released the reality show. So that's going beyond the storefront for these brands. And this beautiful brand is called Dapper Boy. I interviewed these founders as well. They are amazing, the two of them in the picture. And they have a beautiful community, and we will name them in future slides as well. Now let's go to the number 3. And for this one, I advise you to get a notepad because it's going to be super actionable for you. And this means that these brands create their own sales pitch. You know, some successful companies identify opportunities to create their unique commercial actions aside from the well-known ones. Without these arrows, you will see that this brand, this is a yearly graph, or actually more than a year, you'll see a clear seasonality. But there are potential sales peaks. And is something that you can see as an opportunity. to do things like not only doing discounts, but to do things like strategic product releases, celebrate a brand anniversary and do something about it, do strategic partnerships. Of course, you can do a sale if you want. You can release time limited product editions, and you can promote early access to something you're launching. This will create a lot of excitement, a lot of hype to actually turn things around for your brand. However, there's a catch, and it's most brands from doing it. For this to work, you need to plan ahead. If you're talking about 2025, most successful brands already have their plans in place. But that's not all. Hitting your annual goals can be tough if you don't have periodic check ins to ensure you're on track. That's why we encourage brands to create 90-day roadmaps, always keeping their annual goals in mind. This approach helps break big goals into 2 to 3 highly achievable ones. But goals alone won't get you there either. You need specific the inputs that drive the desired results. With this approach, by the way, we have helped multiple businesses achieve year over year growth, including a brand that recently turned their, listen well, this brand turned their second worst month of 2023. It was June. Historically, June was bad for them. June 2023 was the second lowest month for this brand. We helped them turn it into the second best one. And the first one was Black Friday in 2024. So again, we helped this brand with this to turn the second worst month of 2023 into the second best one in 2024. So guys, this works. This is being committed. This is work strategically, and this is being consistent with your goals, but most importantly, with the actions that will deliver those goals. Okay. Number 4, and this is something I constantly insist because it's a must in 2025. It was as well in 2024, but even more in 2025. The commitment to content creation. Let's take a look at this first. This used to work. Imagine there's a full theater with your ideal audience, with your ideal customers, even. If your message is average, then you can convince them to buy what you offer. This is what happened before iOS 14, before 2021, before tracking was broken, right? So we could target the laser targeted interest, the lookalikes, everything worked. And with average ads, everything was okay. Now is the opposite. In 2025, we don't have our ideal audience in the crowd. We target the top and we are not entirely sure who's listening. This means brands need to level up the marketing. And for that, my friends, brands need to create content full time, period. A quarterly photo shoot is not going to cut it anymore. Creative diversity in formats and angles is key to scaling both organics and paid ad efforts. Let's take a look at what some brands are doing here. This is creative diversity. This is BattleBox again. They have been betting not only to short form content, like many brands, but form content. And now long form content is a fad, but it actually is not a fad, but TikTok is encouraging creators in the latest edition of their events to creators to create longer form content. So instead of 30 to 60-second videos, 3-minute plus videos. LinkedIn, same thing. Instagram, same thing. Well, YouTube has always been there. So you can leverage that to educate your customers. Depending on your brand, depending on your vertical, you can do different things. But brands that leverage long-form content, and by the way, the right here has over 800 or 900,000 subscribers on YouTube. So this can grow a lot. Short and long form contents as well. This is a 9-figure brand. BattleBox is an 8-figure brand. This is a 9-figure brand, Kissick. They also do long form content and short form content. And this right here, 8-figure brand, Mom Made, it's an amazing brand. This brand competes against giants in the men's underwear industry, and they leverage their customer base. Here, what they do, for example, is they record themselves, screen here, holding their phone while talking to a customer, asking for feedback. And do you know what they do with this? They use this on the ads. So they record themselves talking to a client with their permission, of course, and the fun conversations, they use them as ads. And according to what I discussed with them over a podcast episode, is one of the best performing pieces of content that works for them. This brand, you can see right here for women. These are not influencers, actors. These are not customers. This is their team. They leverage their team, and by the team, I don't mean the creator team, the ambassador team, is the admin person, the graphic designer, their team to create content. This is how committed they are to content creation. And this right here is a LinkedIn post from by Brock Mamoser. Brock Mamoser, for those not familiar with this great founder, and I advise you to follow him, is a founder of an 8-figure brand called Frost Body. I had the pleasure of interviewing on podcast, and this guy builds in public, and all the time he says that he never thought creating content or doing TikToks, in his case, was going to be the highest lever as a CEO, but that's what it is. So he wakes up every single day to record videos, and if you follow him, you will know what I mean. Every single week, or almost every single week, he posts about the effectiveness of everything they do on TikTok and everything else, community, etc. Now we are going to talk the number 5, creating a wow customer experience. And this should be high priority for every brand. And notice I said customer experience and not customer service. There's a big difference between the two. Here's what top brands are doing here, because you can sell a product, you can have a beautiful website, CRO, ads, etc., but then people buy, and it's like brands forgot about us because all of us are customers. So would you like brands to forget about you? So here's what brands are doing to encourage brands to be loyal and to come back. I spoke with, they called their VIP customers to say thank you. And some of them, as I showed you already, to use them as in the ads. Some brands call all of their customers, and some other brands I talk to, they build 3 groups: those who bought once and never again, lagged customers; those who never bought but subscribed a long time ago to the newsletter and visit the website but they don't buy; and those who bought, I don't know, more than 3-4 times, the VIP. So for all of those segments, they get different imagine. Something else they do is sending handwritten notes with each order. And by the way, these days there are tools to create handwritten notes with robots. So it's like a MailChimp or Klaviyo, but they receive it in a with handwritten. So another one is they give away new products to top customers. Again, this is not mandatory, but it's how they keep them engaged. They release a new product, and if they feel that they have some stock to give away, and it's a perfect strategy to top customers, let's say, they will do that, and it creates a great. Some others record video responses to people's questions, and this is a good one. You chat with brands, you get to interact with them, but receiving a video to a question that you had, it's something that you are not used to. And think about it from the customer perspective. What will happen, or what would happen, if you receive a video from a brand answering a question that you had? Probably you will tell your friends about it, because it's like, hey, I asked this brand this question I had, and they sent me a pretty cool video. You will post it online as well if that was pretty cool and surprised you as well. So it creates a positive effect in you as well. They give a budget, some brands give a budget to solve issues, no questions asked, or to send gifts to their customers periodically. Again, you don't need to do this if you don't want to, but this is how this brand, Freaking One, this is an 8-figure brand, keeps their customers engaged. First off, they don't argue about things when they have an issue. They have a budget the customer success department must spend every single month. No questions asked. They will do whatever you want. And second, they will send gifts. This is one for many of you to take notes because I think it was great. This you're reading on the screen is not something done by a 6-figure brand, 5-figure brand, 7-figure brand. It's a high 8-figure brand. Again, it's a high 8-figure brand. They call their customers who didn't buy again in the last 100 days or 120 days to convince them to encourage them to buy. Does this sound or ring the bell? This is the win back flow, the win back email flow, which most of you must be sending, right? Well, they do as well, but they go beyond. Again, this presentation is about going beyond, not about telling you what you already know. So they go beyond. And again, put things in context. 8-figure brand, they call customers and they call it from this perspective. They call to say, hey, they sell subscriptions, products. So they say, hey, we noticed that you stopped the subscription 2 months ago. We wanted to know what happened, how we can improve the experience, blah, blah, blah. And if they see there's a fit, they transition into a sales pitch. Well, you can find your own way. And last but not least, brand, they support their clients in challenging times, whatever that be. They gave me an example, for example, of this client who called to change the address because their house was on fire and they needed to move. So they sent them a bunch of products. So again, it's being there for your customers. Number 6, and this is amazing as well. Other companies likely sell the same or very similar products to what you do. Let me say that again. Other companies likely sell the same or very similar products to what you do. A way to stand out is by having a unique person. And let me ask you a question to illustrate this. What could an Apple hotel look like? What could a Nike hotel look like? Now, can you imagine what your brand's hotel could look like? Can your team and customers imagine it too? Here's what some brands are doing. 4 founders, I told you I would present these guys again. Man-made founders are the face of the brand and the body of the brand, of course. They tried models, but people wanted them. It's 4 friends who launched the brand to go, and they are on the website, they're on the ads, they are everywhere, right? So they have a unique personality. In their case, they are super fun, really funny conversations with customers, and in events, they interview people. They set the tone for the brand. These guys right here, I know it's a presentation and I cannot show everything, unfortunately, but this image, this screenshot right here is actually a video with the team dancing in the hero section of the website. So again, on their website, when you visit Dapper Boys website, they of their team dancing. So as soon as you visit the website, you can get a vibe of what they are about. This founder, it's a pretty cool brand, Little Saints. Some of you might know it, some of you might not. I believe it's a 7-figure brand. They're pretty well known. They've been in Shark Tank twice, and they are building something great. This right here is the founder, one of the founders, dancing as Damiana. Damiana is a mushroom, and it's one of the ingredients of their cocktails. They mushroom-based cocktails. So this right here is the founder, and she told me, I don't care what people think about me when I do this. I do this in live events. I do it for the ads. I do it for the content. I don't care. I love my brand and I want to set the tone. I want to show the personality. So I'll do it 1,000 times. So they keep doing that. This other brand is a beautiful brand, and they show their customers on their website wearing their products without Photoshop. Again, their customers, not models. and without Photoshop for the product. So these are a few ways to set your personality and having a unique personality. But I'm sure there's something you can think about and you can say, hey, I'm this way, but I don't want to be this way. I want my brand to be, this way and more formal. Well, get yourself out there, record content, right? That's the way to go these days. Having a scrappy team. This is a quick one, but it's an important one. As again, I interviewed many, many brands in these years, and having a great team is key for every brand to succeed. Without a great team, really tough to make it. And when I say a great team, it's key to have the right people in the right seats. And for this, there's a book I love called Traction by Gino Wickman. It's Traction by Gino Wickman. And in the right head count, of course, we try to not overhire. This is a report done by a beautiful e-commerce community called E-commerce Fuel in 2022. Unfortunately, they didn't do a newer version, but this will give you a more or less a good perspective. And I validated this with every company we work with and I interviewed. You know, try to keep this in mind, to take a screenshot and to maybe we have 8 people and we are less than less than 7 figures, or we are doing low 7 figures and we are 5 people, or we are 10 people. So, or the other way around, right? We are doing 8 figures and we're 2, right? So, but this more or less makes sense. Number 8, profitability. Let's admit that this wasn't a very popular term up until the last few years. Many commerce brands struggle with profitability in 2025, mainly because they paid attention to the top line revenue rather than to the bottom line. And it's natural, everything changed. But what's the brands did? They focused on decreasing costs. And while that's okay, I understand you need to decrease costs. There's a limit. There's a limit to how much you can do that without sacrificing growth and missing the mark on your business goals. However, there's an infinite opportunity to increase value. The first thing you can do to increase value is to map out your customers' purchase journey, what they buy on each order, the top products bought on the first one, what they buy in the second one, the products that are often purchased together, the time between orders, the subscription take rate or subscription churn. And then once you map that out, and by the way, this is not something that Shopify gives you, so I'm going to mention a tool with I have no affiliation to that tool. You'll be able to improve things, right? So here are a few examples. Improvements, I mean bundles. It could be pre or post purchase upsells. It could be improving the value ladder, what people buy first, second, etc. Adjusting the timing for your messages to your customers, the win back flow, the post purchase flow, etc. Here's an example of a post purchase journey. It's a real one. And this is using a tool called Live Timely. Floor, if you can put in the chat, please. It's Live Timely. You get a 14-day free trial, and in that time, you can get all the information you want. But then, of course, you can keep using it to make better decisions. But basically, it will give you information that Shopify doesn't give you. And we had a mini guide on that as well. But basically, you will see in the columns the first, second, and third order. In orange, green, and the rest of the colors, you will see the product types. You can see products, product types. You can see different things. In these charts, you see product types. So the orange is pants. In green, there's bra, long sleeves, and in violet, and then in pink, tank tops. What you can see is that it will give you the numbers when you hover with the mouse, right? But 40% of orders, of the first orders were pants. Them bought bras in the second one, but most of them, and here's the interesting part, bought another pant in the second order. So if you don't have a bundle offering 2 pants, now you know you can do that, for example. Then half of those who bought tank tops in the first order, but the pant on the second one. So again, some things are going to be obvious, and that's fine, but you might get a lot of insights. And as that, you have other interesting charts, such as the time between orders, because again, you cannot know that information in Shopify analysis with more information than the one you have on Shopify. You can see what people buy together in the same order. On Shopify, you can actually see, you cannot control the time, you cannot control anything. You just see 2 to 3 products listed saying 60% who bought A, then bought B. But here you get the full overview of what's being bought together. Number 9, and we are about to wrap up here. These brands know their numbers. And no, I'm not referring to ROAS. Everyone seems worried about ROAS. However, there's most successful brands lose sleep over. Instead, they know their unit economics, MER, the marketing effectiveness ratio, the margins, the CAC, which is how much you can actually pay to acquire a customer, the CAC to LTV ratio. You have the cost to acquire a customer, you have the lifetime value. Well, the CAC should be a healthy percentage of that, right? You can measure the CAC the first 6 month, the first 12-month CAC, etc. Then the CAC payback period, which is the time in which you recover your CAC. So without being too technical, if your CAC is $50 and in the second order, let's say in the second month, you get those $50 back because they spent, in revenue generated that from your customers on average, the CAC payback period will be 2 months. It's important for cash flow purposes to know that. Let's see what some brands are doing. People at Opbi, it's an 8-figure brand, a supplement brand, go an extra mile with a daily P&L SMS between the CFO and some other actors. They send a daily SMS or WhatsApp message to see if they are on track for their monthly goals. So you don't need to do that exactly precisely, but you can do something else. But the important thing is that you measure things beyond ROAS. Number 10, successful brands understand the power of building a community. Many successful brands I know have built one, and a community can live in different channels. It could be email, it could be a Facebook group, and yes, those are pretty active, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. It could be Slack, it could be Skool, SKOOL. What matters is staying in touch with your audience. How can brands benefit from a community? Well, let's take a look at some of the examples. Some brands use it to create a stronger bond with their customers. Some to ask for products they would like to see next. Some to get feedback, others to educate the audience on their products and whatever they want to release next. And some to entertain, because entertainment is a healthy part of the business. Here are a few examples. Opbi, the founder, Ronak Shah, he's the founder as well of Chewondies, the DTC Times, amazing companies they host, great events. So I advise you to follow them. They build in public, so you get a lot of information. They created the community to know the next step for their business. So they added customers, some prospects. They talk about collagen because it's what they sell. And they asked them what to do next, what they want to see. Their community has recently passed the 100,000 members. Adds 100 new members a day. And they get new ideas, testimonials. It helps with decision making and basically creates raving fans. By the way, now this is an old message from August last year. Now this week they said that they passed the 52,000 members. So in a year they added an extra 25K members. And BattleBox, community is everything for this brand. It's in their top navigation and very important for them. There are 2 bonuses for you, and as important as the other ones. The first one is having multiple traffic sources. Now, before going into them, let me tell you something. Meta is the number one paid ads channel. However, since most brands live in rented land, they need to diversify to avoid potential issues. Some of the traffic sources these brands use is organic social, Meta, TikTok, YouTube, paid social, Meta, Google, and TikTok apps. There are many ways these days to get an app without hiring a developer. One of the options I know without affiliation, any affiliation with them, is Topcart. And by the way, the app is not a copycat of the website. The app complements the experience. So if you're a skincare brand or a beauty brand, let's say, you can you can have an educational content around the night routine, the daily routine, or the morning routine. If you sell supplements or some food related stuff, you can have recipes. Again, this should create engagement of people to buy in app, but it's not the main goal. You can, of course, do SMS, as many brands are currently doing. Direct mail is an overlooked one. Of course, in 2024, there was a spike in it because of the new rules for email, but direct mail is way less crowded than email. So if it applies to you, I would encourage you to explore it. And then, of course, social commerce, TikTok Shop, but of course, YouTube is launching, but it already launched, but it's not as popular. YouTube Shopping, Meta will do the same thing with their own ecosystem. They have shops, but not with the tools and ecosystem as TikTok, but they will do it soon. One thing I would like to clarify, and it's really, really important for you to understand that don't diversify too soon. The other day, I interviewed the founder of Breeze, amazing brand. They are on track to doing 9 figures in less than 20, yeah, in 20 months. They're doing 30 million. So it's not even 2 years since they launched and they're doing 30 million. So they are on track this year to doing double of that. So they spend money on, but they spend 7 figures a month. I think it's they bill in public, so you can see that, but it's 4 to 5 million or 7 million a month on ads. If you spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, Meta should be enough for you. Can you diversify into Google or TikTok? Sure, but it's not that you do it because you maxed out the other channels. If you're spending that, just know that there are some brands spending high six figures on a single channel with success. In your opinion, if you're spending 5K, 10K, 20K, and you think that you reached the max potential of Meta, let's say, well, that might not be the case. Something else might be going on. But again, with the right time and the right budget, it's important to diversify. Last one, last bonus, taking making data-led decisions. Planning the next steps, whether it's a sale, a product creation and improvement, inventory forecasting, designing offers, all of these needs to be done with data. And this doesn't come from attribution tools only. They also come from places such as the number one is Kno Commerce, KNO Commerce, but there are some others out there. In the thank you page, you can embed a survey, you can ask the most relevant questions, and please use a post-purchase survey wisely. Don't ask the same thing that you already know or some, numeric thing. Just ask them information that you cannot get otherwise. Are you buying for yourself or for somebody else? How long have you been following us before your first purchase? You can the questions will depend on your vertical and on your brand, but ask information other brands that you consider besides us. Why did you choose us over them? So you can the sky's the limit for thinking about questions, but try to think about questions that will add a lot of good insights for improving your marketing and why not your blogs. Some others use the leverage the customer purchase journey. Again, what I covered before, you can use that to get many insights as well, because you will uncover a lot of opportunities too. Reading reviews, your own and your competitors. There's a great tool I use called Gummy Search with them, but Gummy Search, there might be other ones, allow you to scrape Reddit in this case. So basically, you will create audiences based on subreddits. So you can type in a keyword, let's say dog owners, whatever, beauty, skincare, moisturizer, whatever. And you it will find subreddits for you. You can choose multiple subreddits to build an audience. Once you do that, with AI, it will summarize money talk, pain points, and opportunities, and a great way to get a sense of, on what they are talking about and what they want. And then, of course, I think this is free, but in the paid plan, you can actually go to the source and read the full comments. But it's great to get insights uh, of about what your audience is talking about in Reddit in this case. Then, of course, leveraging data tools. Besides, Lifetime is one of them. Gummy Search is one of them. The post-purchase survey is one of them. These tools will give you a lot of information that will be useful to improve your marketing as well. As your CX team, if you have a CX team, if you are, as a founder, the customer success team, gather data, talk to your customers. Calling your customers is almost free. You can call them. Nobody will say no. And if they say no, what's the worst thing that could happen? They will say, no, thank you. I'm busy. They'll hang up. So what? But if you come from a point of help, like, hey, I wanted to thank you because you bought. I'm the founder, director, or whatever of this brand. I wanted to know more about your experience because we are always looking to improving. They will open and they will share a lot of valuable insights. And this is the most valuable things. I'll tell you a quick story. Uppy, this brand, this supplement brand I mentioned, performing ads they run came from their customers. They called their customers and they started seeing a pattern that they used a term that is FUPA, right? Is a fat in the upper belly, right? So it's FUPA. So they didn't use that until then. And then they said, we should start using that. And when they used that term in the ads, well, sales exploded as well. And it was one of the best performing ones. So using what telling, addressing your customers in the way they want is one thing, but doing that exactly with their words is even more powerful. First, community surveys. If you have a community, you can survey them. Again, if you don't have a Facebook group, a school group, or whatever, and you have an email list, survey them. You can offer something in exchange or not, but try to survey them. Ask them. Again, if you don't want to call them, survey them. And of course, last but not least, as I said before, call your customers. If you don't call your customers, what are you doing? And again, I showed you that many 9 and 8 figure brands I talk to call their customers. So it's not something that small brands do only. You need to call your customers. Again, I cannot stress enough about it. So it's up to you. Now, that was all. Let's do a quick recap before you go. Top brands have a great product. They don't hide behind their storefront. They are committed to content creation. They create a wow customer experience. They have a unique personality, a scrappy team. They focus on boosting profitability. They know their numbers. They have a community. They rely on multiple traffic sources as they grow. They create their own sales picks and they take data-led decisions. If you found this useful, first off, thank you. And if you found this useful, I would like to keep in touch with you. Of course, if you would like to keep in touch with me, and here are a few ways of doing that. First off, our podcast. You can visit this website or you can visit thedtcinsider.com and you will see the menu right there at the top. The podcast is very useful to learn from amazing brand founders because I learn a lot. So I'm sure you will learn a lot too at different stages of their journey. the newsletter to stay up to date with the latest news and trends in the DTC space. And my agency, if you need a growth partner and how to scale brands, we are offering a complimentary deep dive analysis to uncover growth opportunities. Feel free to reach out via email. This is my email. And of course, you can reach out for that, or you can reach out just if you have any questions that you can have, because I'm all about helping. That's um, that's so, and that I'm a growth mentor, or I'm a mentor in a platform called Growth Mentor. I offer free 30-minute calls, mentorship calls. So brands, marketers, and any other people can ask me anything related to what I. So that's all on my end. If you have any questions, please go ahead. Flor, she's my business partner. She's as a producer here. If there's any question that I can answer, please let me know, and I will. One is asking if we'll be at Shop Talk. I wish I have big FOMO. I won't be there, but I hope to be at Commerce Roundtable in September, not in April's edition, but in September. I'm doing the best I can to be there, but I won't be at this one. If there's any other question, let me know about anything. And again, the most important thing about what I covered is not that you leave the call and apply everything that we have been discussing, because if you try to apply everything, you'll end up applying nothing. So just pick the top one or two things that you think that are top of mind for your stage of growth, and that's what you need to do next. Implement one, give it time, try to do it for a decent time. Where can we find the recording? There was some audio issues on my end. Oh, sorry, Kim, for that. I'll be sharing the recording through email. If you attended the webinar, which you did, of course, you'll be receiving the recording link after this. I'll be sending it later today or tomorrow. Um, okay. Okay, it was there was a general issue with audio. Sorry again, it was the first time I'm doing this, and even more on Riverside. So my apologies. But again, this is all. Please let me know now. Otherwise, in a few seconds, I'll wrap up. And again, if there's anything you like to ask me, there's my email on screen. It's Brian at bsrdigital.com. We have a lot of mini guides. I post regularly on LinkedIn. I have the newsletter. I have the podcast. We have a YouTube channel. So there are many ways to stay in touch with me. Pleasure, Joseph. Thanks for staying. So if that's all, I thanks for some great insights. I think your brand. Okay, amazing. So yeah, I look forward to receiving your email, Christiana. Thank you all for attending. This is a wrap. Have a great rest of the day and great week ahead. Thank you.